Kia ora, a fairly showery looking afternoon in store for many of us. You can see on the charts a fair number across those central parts of the North Island. But watch as we head through the afternoon. More showers springing up around the eastern side of the South Island. Some of those heavy and thundery, but they should ease off through the evening time. Up north, the showers across the likes of, say, Auckland, easing as we head through in towards the afternoon and becoming more confined perhaps the ranges and the higher parts of the North Island. But really things are set to improve there through the night time. The showers, even on the likes of, say, Canterbury, easing off as well as we head in towards the night. But just watching out for one or two heavy, perhaps even thundering ones, with the chance of some hail as we head through the afternoon. You can see we've got our next front waiting to come towards us out towards the western side of the country. That will be bringing some more unsettled weather, some heavier rain in towards the likes of Fiordland and some stronger winds ahead of it as well through the night time. Note, most of the activity stays offshore by the early hours of the morning tomorrow. Though for Tuesday, we'll find that rainfall into Fiordland and ahead of it, strengthening northwesterly winds, and that's something we're going to be watching out for, not just down the south, but also through the Canterbury High Country, up towards Marlborough, and by the end of the day, even Wellington and Wairarapa as well. In terms of our temperatures through the night time, nothing too cold. Lows on across the North Island down to around about 10 degrees Celsius, and a few spots on the South Island down to about 5 or 6 through Canterbury, but for most of us, a relatively mild night. Now, on in towards Tuesday, that front continues to make its way northwards. Now, ahead of that, those strengthening northwesterly winds pushing that rainfall in towards the southern Alps as well. Some heavy rain through parts of Westland and the higher ground of Canterbury and Otago, particularly about the southern Alps through there. And by the end of the day and in towards the night, that rain moves up towards the North Island, knocking on the door of, say, Auckland by around about midnight or so. But really, I think it's a case of watching that front moving northwards along with those strengthening winds. Behind it, colder air is back with us. Southwesterly winds bringing that snow level down to around about 700 metres. Something to watch out for places like the Milford Road, which could get a fair amount of snow as we head through the night time and in towards the early part of Wednesday morning. Showers down there as well, but you can see some clearer skies back with us for Canterbury and down towards Otago by the end of the day. Now, as this front moves northwards, it will introduce some heavy rainfall in towards parts of western, particularly up in towards the ranges that through here. And with those strong northwesterly winds, that they will be pushing that rain across and towards the headwaters of Canterbury and Otago. So we have got to watch out for those areas as well. You'll also notice that strong wind watches through the Canterbury High Country up towards Marlborough and Wellington and the Wairarapa. The Canterbury ones as we go through the daytime on Tuesday, and for Wellington, Marlborough and up in towards the Wairarapa towards the end of the day, more especially overnight with those northwesterlies increasing as that front gets closer. Now, this will all be driven in by an area of low pressure that sits down towards the far southern parts of the country. So by the end of the day on Tuesday, we'll also find those winds increasing around the likes of, say, Stewart Island and around the Southland and Clutha coast. So a strong wind watch for you, but really for later in the day on Tuesday and through towards Wednesday as that low pressure swings through there. For the North Island, if you're looking for the drier, brighter weather, it's out towards these eastern areas. A fine looking day here and pretty warm as well. More cloud out towards the west and a few isolated showers, mainly about the higher parts of Waitomo and in towards the higher parts of, say, Kapiti Horowhenua. By the end of the day, though, we'll find that next front runs up towards us and it brings some heavier rainfall back in towards parts of, say, Taranaki and also down towards those more southern and western parts of the lower North Island. And I think we are going to find a bit of a cloudy end to the day for many of us, apart from up in the places like the Bay of Plenty, staying dry and generally clear through most of the daytime, and pretty decent temperatures as well. Highs in, say, Tauranga of around about 20 degrees Celsius, 24 though, out in towards Napier. A bit more cloud though towards the end of the day, and like I say, for Auckland, areas of cloud. Most of the time it should stay dry, but as we head through the night time and in towards Wednesday, we'll find that wet weather with you, and a bit of a wet end today in Wellington, with the cloud thickening up to bring some patchy rain. On the South Island, we watch that rain moving up through Fiordland and Westland. Some stronger winds on the other side of the hills in towards the likes of, say, Canterbury and Otago. The strongest winds up through the Canterbury High Country. The heaviest rain up about the headwaters of the lakes and rivers. Scattered rain making its way up through Dunedin and up in towards the likes of Canterbury. Now, not nearly as much as we saw at the end of last week, just a brief spell of rain running through there, really patchy, with a lot of it coming in from that westerly direction more than the east. And by the end of the day, we'll find that clears off, and the rain reaching up towards those more northern parts of, say, the Buller and Grey districts, and perhaps in towards parts of Nelson as well. Keep an eye, though, on those winds, especially through the Canterbury High Country and up towards Marlborough, with winds perhaps gusting 80, 90 kilometres an hour in the most exposed areas, definitely not out of the question. As we head in towards the next few days, we'll start to find our temperatures a little bit cooler, but look at these highs on Tuesday, 21 degrees Celsius in Christchurch, over that northwester. Pretty decent looking temperatures. Down south, 14 degrees Celsius for Invercargill. And watch out for your winds increasing around that far southern area as we head towards the end of the day. Now on in towards Wednesday, you can see we start off with that band of wet weather across the Northland, moves away as we head through the morning time, so a bit of a wet start in Auckland, but we are going to find it slowly starts to improve. A fairly good southwesterly wind runs up towards Otago, a blustery day in Dunedin there as we head through the daytime on Wednesday, and those winds are reaching up towards the Canterbury coast, perhaps reaching in towards Christchurch by the end of the day, and a few showers with that. Some cooler air as well, I mean we'll find some snowfall about the tops of the very highest parts of Southland and Otago. But for the Northland, after a wet start, it should be an improving day on Wednesday. That's it from me. There's more at metservice.com.